Oh yeah. Ooh. And ooh. Yo, we live out here. Yo, what's good? So, yep, coming on here talking about this car accident that I had. And the reason why I really wanted to share this car accident that I had is because it inhibits me from being able to train as often as I would like to. But there are good news from that. And I want to share those good news, and I want to share how I'm looking at this because I know of people who have had similar predicaments as me. For whatever reason, car accident, maybe life is just getting busy, or maybe you got injured. For whatever reason, you can't train. And obviously, for us as grapplers, we love training. Jiu-jitsu is the highlight of our day. We love doing it, but what do we do if we can't? And I know that it can be very depressing when you can't, right? Because I kind of felt that way. I when I got into my car accident, this was on Thursday. I knew one of the biggest things on my mind. Obviously, I was stressed about the car situation. I was stressed about having to get back home at 4 in the morning. I was stressed about having to basically pay for this problem that happened with my car. But I was also stressed about not being able to do what I love and go train jujitsu, right? It's like that's what I love. I really love it. I train 5 to 6 days every week consistently. Sometimes I train twice a week, especially when prepping for competition. I take time to study. I research. I look up instructionals. I look up live matches. I take notes. I do all this stuff. To not be able to go train is devastating. But there have been some good things that come out of it. One of those things being that I'm focused on other areas of my life. So I pretty much lost my job because of the car accident. So I'm all in now on social media marketing and upping my brand and trying to post every day to YouTube, trying to post 3 times a day to Facebook and Instagram. I'm trying to connect to the community as much as possible. I'm trying to help as many people as possible. That's why I just made a strength and conditioning instructional. It's called the Grappler's Edge: Inhibit Injuries and Outlast Your Opponents. It's coming out within the next couple of days. I'll put a link down below if you want to check it out when it releases. And I'm just focused in on those things because I can't go and train. Now, actually, good news is today I actually can go train. So this is another thing I wanted to mention too. I happened to be able to borrow my mom's car. I got lucky, right? Because I just moved down to Myrtle Beach from New York like a couple months ago, and my mom actually ended up getting her own place in Myrtle Beach, and that allowed me to have access to a car at least sometimes. So there are some obviously downsides because I was traveling to go to jujitsu. I was traveling 4 hours to go to different gyms, and also traveling about 40 minutes to go to the local gym because that's what's close by. And the high quality gyms are a few hours away. So I go drive a couple hours, I train for a couple hours, and then I drive back for a couple hours. That's 6 hours a couple days a week that I'm spending training and driving. I'm spending an hour every day, probably 2 hours to 2.5 hours training and driving on the other days where I'm more local. So now I have that extra free time. So it's like you put that energy into other areas of your life. And one of the big things I talk about in the Grappler's Edge program and what I talk about with my clients is not only, okay, let's do strength and conditioning, let's work your nutrition to improve your performance, but let's make sure that there are avenues in your life that are organized. So if you're stressed out about finances, if you're stressed out about other things that are going on in your life, it's very hard for you to perform your best, right? So if you want to perform your best, you need to have these other areas of your life kind of in check. If you want to start a business, you need to make sure that that business is thriving and that you're putting time and effort into it every single day in order to see it succeed. If you're working at a job and you're trying to work up the corporate ladder, you put that intention in every single day. You put that intention in with your family to make sure that you're present with them and that you're taking good care of them. You be present with your habits, your eating habits, your training habits. Maybe you start incorporating more exercise. One of the big things I did since I couldn't train over the weekend and since Thursday, which for me is a lot. I mean, I missed I missed Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I cannot remember the last time I took 3 days off in a row from jiu-jitsu. I actually get to go train today, which is awesome because I got access to the car, right? But I know that some of you are not going to be as lucky. You're going to get into a car accident, your gym's going to be 25 minutes away, and then, you know, how are you going to get there? How are you going to train? And maybe you don't have family or loved ones with access to a car like as easily as I do at this present state in time. You know, I'm very lucky for that. But what I do have is I have a home gym, and I've been putting that intention in. I've lifted every day, right? I lifted Friday, Saturday, Sunday to build up my strength. Today I'm not going to lift. I'm just going to go and do jiu-jitsu. I put in that extra energy towards that. I've been putting in extra energy and time into my business, into you know, getting my name out there more and trying to improve myself. So guys, if you do watch this, if you are listening to this, if you do watch this, if at the end of the video, if you can just subscribe, like, and comment, it would really mean a lot because that all helps the channel grow and it helps people see it more. You know, there are things that I'm looking to do to also improve the quality of these videos. I want to make sure that you guys are enjoying it and that it's, you take something from it, right? Like, you can enjoy it, right? Like I find myself to be quite a charismatic, like outgoing type of individual where I can kind of talk and people can listen in. And I've found that people are quite engaging with the way that I speak and I teach and I instruct, right? So I'm not afraid of that being bad. But what I care about more is I want people to listen to these, and every single episode, you take something away. You develop, you learn, you do something better today. You grow a little bit more today than you did yesterday. That's what matters. Every single day, you need to be growing. You need to be improving your life, not just your jiu-jitsu, right? You got to put intention and energy into improving your jiu-jitsu. You got to study. You got to look at what the highest level people are doing. You've got to take private lessons when you can. You got to buy instructionals when you can. You got to improve yourself in that fashion. You got to work out on your fitness. You got to work on your health. What you also need to do is work on your mind, and you need to work on your career. You need to work on your family and your friends and your communication. Those things are important too. So that's where the value comes from taking time away. So I actually think that in some cases, there's a lot of jiu-jitsu athletes that actually experience burnout. You know, you start training 5 to 6 days a week because it's so damn addicting. And now all of a sudden you're just kind of showing up and going through the motion rather than actually paying attention to what's really going on. When you take time away, you take 3 days, a week, 2 weeks off, a month off, you get injured, something bad happens, you now have access to all of this free time. And while it can be depressing at first, you can recognize this as a blessing, something that can happen, something that gives you more time to work on other things, to go hang out with your friends and family more, to spend time on your career, to spend time on your business, to do those things that you don't normally have time for because you're training so much, you know. And then you really reflect on the fact that you love jiu-jitsu, that this is what you love to do. And you start to think about the techniques that have been working. Okay, when I go back, what can I do that's really going to maximize this? And I'll tell you guys this from my own journey. Currently, the last time I trained jiu-jitsu, I was getting into these attacks where I was going for the submission and I was getting these submission holds, but I wasn't able to hold on to the positions as tight as I would like. And when I would go against better people, they would be able to get out, even though the submission breaking mechanics were really good. So I was actually suggested by one of the black belts that I know to pay attention to just positioning. So when I go back into training today, when I go to train this week at all, if I can make it, I'm going to focus in on positioning. I'm not going to focus on getting the submission. I'm going to focus on being able to hold people down and be able to make them stuck. That's the goal. Because if I can make you stuck and I have the breaking mechanics down, good luck, buddy. You're about to get wrecked. No, I digress. So I think that that's what it is. It's these opportunities that arise in that more free time that opens up. And it's important for us to just kind of look at the best case scenario, to just make the best of a bad situation. You know, those things happen. I think that's actually something that jiu-jitsu actually teaches us. You know, your first 6 months of training, you just get wrecked. You literally just get wrecked. That's it. Whether you're wrestling, jiu-jitsu, grappling, whatever, you just get wrecked. You're wrecked, but you keep showing up, you keep coming back because you're trying to make the best of a bad situation. Eventually you learn, and eventually you start catching your own submissions and such. that has to carry over to other aspects of your life. And I still do see a lot of people failing in that, especially younger guys. If you're a younger guy, it's really easy to be lost in the world, especially nowadays with all the social media, the pornography that's out there, how easy it is to get drugs, how girls are glorified on OnlyFans, and it's kind of like, ruining people's lives. If you're a younger guy, you need to explore into the red pill and become based. You need to start meditating. Take up another hobby as well. You start falling off of the wagon with jujitsu. Maybe you just can't make it because of certain situations that are bad. Take up another hobby temporarily. Even if it's like something easy. Go for walks. Maybe you go play a few games of like football with your friends or something. Play strategic video games. Like that's kind of what I've been doing to kind of keep my mind in that state of like when you're working on something and you're so focused, you can't think of other things, which is what I believe jujitsu is for many of us, is that we can just do jujitsu and we don't have to think about we don't have to think about other things in our life. We're just doing jujitsu. For me, I work out and I take care of my physical body, but it's not the same as jujitsu. Like if lifting weights, it's definitely not the same. But if I play like a strategic video game, and I mean a strategic one, right? Because if I play like, I don't know, if I play like a first person shooter, I just feel like I'm in a zombie mode. But if I play a game like Age of Empires, that's the game that I've been really into recently. It's a strategic based military game where you can create armies and you have to like work your settlers up. Like you start with like no supplies in the dark ages and you level up your ages, you level up your soldiers, and then you go to war and you fight other people, right? For me, you have to be strategic. You have to actually think, okay, what's my route? And there's like a million different routes you can play the game. You can play the game by building up infantry, building up cavalry, building up artillery, building up defenses, going more offensive in the beginning. Like there's all these different strategies and ways to play the game. So I find that to be quite enjoyable. So when I can't get to jujitsu, I'll play a little bit of that to kind of ease my mind. I find that those type of games are pretty hard to get addicted to. I mean, some people definitely get addicted to video games. It's pretty easy to get addicted to video game, but what I find with that is that after about an hour or so, I'm kind of like, okay, I need a break, right? Because it actually takes thinking power. I can't just like breathe out of my mouth in zombie mode while playing Age of Empires. I just can't do it. I think too much during it. So I have to take a break after like an hour or two. Maybe one of these days I actually would like to start streaming that type of game because it's fun and it's engaging and it's like a thinking game rather than just like, oh, yo, watch me curse out 12-year-olds and shoot from across the map, son. 360 no scope. Nah, those Call of Duty videos are pretty fun to watch, but I don't know. It was never really my cup of tea with playing. I was always more into the strategic games. So yeah, you can find yourself another little hobby. Actually, I got to bounce out of here because I started this a little bit later than I wanted to. And I'm going to go train actually because I got the access to the car. So, be grateful when you get the opportunity to train. Some people live in like small ass towns and they can't even go and train. Anyway, it's 11 a.m. Eastern right now. Make yourself a wish. And I'm going to go out here and train some jiu-jitsu. So go ahead.